I'm Dr. Elmar Trafts and welcome back to Designing for the Digital Revolution Web3 edition. This is day 2 of our 5-day intensive course, which happens on Zoom and on campus in room N333. Today in this lecture we will discuss what an NFT actually is, how it is different to a cryptocurrency and what use cases it opens up in art, fashion, marketing and the music industry, and how it will change customer loyalty forever. So what is an NFT? Before we answer that question, we should explain what cryptocurrencies are. And before we answer that question, I should explain again what a blockchain is. Last week, in the introduction to Web3, we explained that a blockchain is basically one big decentralized database that no single person has control over, but everyone can use. Therefore, a blockchain allows for trustless, incorruptible transactions, meaning that we can send data from one person to another person without a middleman and without anyone being able to disrupt that transaction. That's why blockchains are perfect for financial transactions. Now, everyone could simply create a new currency on a blockchain and send units of that currency around. This process is called minting, when you create your own currency on a blockchain. However, if you mint your own currency and people would start using it, you would be simply able to print or mint more of that currency at will. So people would need to trust you that you wouldn't devalue that currency. To get around the issue that you would have to trust that one person to not print or mint more, cryptocurrencies were invented to facilitate trustless transactions. With a cryptocurrency, you can't print or mint units of a currency. Instead, there are cryptographic puzzles that you have to solve, also called hash puzzles. And for each cryptographic hash puzzle that you have to solve, you get 1 unit of that currency in return as a reward. In the case of Bitcoin, there are 21 million puzzles available in total. So if you solve 1 Bitcoin puzzle, you get 1 Bitcoin. 19 million Bitcoin puzzles have been solved already. This is also called mined. So when you solve 1 Bitcoin puzzle, you mine 1 Bitcoin. To solve these cryptographic puzzles, you need lots of compute power. In the case of Bitcoin, these computers that have enough power to solve these riddles are called ASIC miners. In the case of Ethereum GPU, graphics cards are used that are typically used for 3D gaming. As you can imagine, these take lots of energy to run. This method of creating trustless cryptocurrencies is called proof of work, because you have to do all this work to solve the puzzle to get the reward for one of the units of the cryptocurrency. So this is why cryptocurrencies are called cryptocurrencies. Because you need to solve a cryptographic puzzle to print or create or mint 1 unit of that currency. 1 unit of a cryptocurrency is typically called a coin or a token. A coin is typically the native currency of a blockchain, where a token is a currency that someone invented on top of that blockchain. Now, what does this have to do with NFTs? Basically, instead of having a digital currency of a blockchain where you have a certain amount of units, coins, tokens of a given currency, like in the example of Bitcoin where you have 21 million, or if you would create your own currency, you would have 100,000 or 10,000 units. With an NFT, you only have 1 single unit of a currency. So imagine inventing your own currency, but you only have 1 bill, token or coin of that currency. That is an NFT. Imagine I make my own currency and I draw a picture of my face on a piece of paper and I'm saying this is my Elmar currency. But there's only this 1 piece of paper or art that is that currency. That is then an NFT. NFT stands for non-fungible token. So a currency of 10,000 tokens or 100,000 tokens or 21 million tokens is called fungible. Because 1 token of that currency is many of the same of that currency. 1 Bitcoin of 21 million Bitcoin is the exact same as the other 1 Bitcoin. This is what is meant by being fungible, that you can swap one unit out for another one of the currency and it's exactly the same. That's why if we have a currency of one token that is non-fungible, because that one token is not exchangeable for any other token, since there's only that one that has been created. And so that is then a fungible token, NFT. So this is where the name comes from. But what is this currency of one then good for? What can we use these non-fungible tokens for? Well, basically we can use them as certificates of ownership. I can create an NFT to certify that something belongs to you. Similar to how not the person who lives in a house, but the person who owns the title of the house is the owner of the house. Or not the person who drives the car, but the person who owns the title of the car is the owner of the car. We can now use NFTs as digital titles to certify ownership. With an NFT, I can create a digital title and certify that you are the owner of a photograph, for example. And then no matter who uses this photograph or who looks at the photograph or prints the photograph, the only owner of the photograph is the person who owns the certificate, the NFT. And this is how we can now certify ownership for basically everything. We can certify that a 3D animation belongs to you, that a digital drawing belongs to you, or that a moment in time belongs to you, like with the NBA Top Shots, for example. Literally everything that has ownership or equity can be certified using NFTs. Even more interesting is that these NFT certificates can include smart contracts. For example, if you sell your certificate to someone else, a royalty of, for example, 10% can automatically be paid out to the original creator of the certificate. So the creators gets 10% of every secondary sale. So let's look at some examples of successful NFT projects. It is important to distinguish between NFTs with little or no utility and NFTs with utility. Collectible NFTs versus utilitarian NFTs. NFTs with no or little utility are, for example, collectible NFTs in the art world, where the NFT is used to certify the ownership of the artwork, but you can't do much more with the NFT than prove that the artwork is yours. Utilitarian NFTs are either NFTs in gaming, where you can do something specific with your NFT in the game, or NFTs in the real world, where you get access to events or venues. Since collectibles are the easiest use case, it has been the biggest hype in the last 9 months. The most famous examples for this are CryptoPunks and the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Here NFTs certify the ownership of the artwork and might send a percentage of the resale of the NFT back to its original creator. Utilitarian NFTs are the next big wave in NFTs. You not only get a pretty piece of art, but that token also has some form of utility. For example, with the Fly Fish Club NFT, you get access to the Fly Fish Club restaurant. Let's have a look at this video of the Flying Fish Club.
Fly Fish Club is the world's first members-only private dining experience where membership is purchased on the blockchain and owned by the token holder.
A premier dining destination in New York City that will only be accessible through an NFT token.
We will be the first NFT-only members club.
What kind of compelled me to jump all in and really become part of a restaurant group instead of a passive investor or an enthusiast was an aligned interest that we were going to try to rewrite the game, hence the things we're doing with NFTs.
We, as chefs and restaurant operators, have tried to identify what's the best path for New York City and how do we do something new, innovative, and fresh and fun.
I think New York City is the premier dining destination in the world. Fly Fish Club is going to be a modern interpretation of everything that you love and appreciate when you walk into a restaurant, but turned upside down, on its face and inside out. Hospitality to me just means a whole lot of love. When you walk into one of our restaurants, you're gonna feel the love from beginning to end.
Fish has always been something that I've gravitated towards, something I've always enjoyed cooking, and Josh felt the same way. So it'll be seafood focused, and we're taking our influences from anywhere from Peru to Japan to New England style seafood, and we're using the best quality ingredients that we can source locally and globally.
I'm thrilled to announce this project because it's never been done before, it's extremely innovative, and it turns a membership into an asset for the people that join our community.
We're not a country club, we're not a club, like, this is a, you own it. Let's call it what it is. Everywhere else you rent, you pay an upfront fee and then you pay every year. The fact that I actually own that asset and can list it and sell it is a remarkable innovation.
We have two different tokens at Flyfish Club.
We have a Flyfish token and we have a Flyfish Omakase token. Flyfish token gets you access to the cocktail room, the restaurant, an outdoor space that has iconic views of New York City.
And then the second token is the Omakase token.
Flyfish Omakase token gets you access to everything that the Flyfish token gives you, in addition to an omakase experience curated by one of the best sushi masters in the country.
My career has been predicated on what's in it for the person on the other side of my transaction. Every ounce of my energy on this restaurant has been for the people that take the plunge to buy this token because they respect or expect or believe in our collective and what we can achieve, and already planning on what could we add to this token in 2027, 2033, 2047. That's what I do for a living. That's how I think.
Everything VCR Group does and everything that we're going to do at Flyfish Club is about innovation.
The group behind Flyfish Club is VCR Group. We're a collective of operators and hospitality professionals. We wanted to create something new, innovative, and more heartfelt for our guests, our clients, as well as each other.
I was born with hospitality in my blood, and that's something that's gonna come through every experience you have at the Flyfish Club.
The thing that I'm most comfortable with is the energy that I've brought and can bring and have brought to this group on the marketing and innovation tech side. Like, there's so many variables that come along with NFT life that people don't think about that I've spent a lot of time thinking about. We want to create incredible value for the people that are part of this process.
Further utilitarian NFTs are in gaming, music, and the fashion and brand industry, where you get certain benefits or you can actually use the NFT. In certain games, for example, you can buy weapons or building blocks as NFTs. In Decentraland, on the other hand, you can buy clothes or dress your avatar and buy a hat or some sunglasses as an NFT. In the music industry, if someone buys an NFT of a music band, this NFT might be usable as an entrance ticket to future shows of that music band or to backstage access, for example. And you might get free merch on top of that. So let's have a look at this video of the Kings of Leon, who just released their latest album as an NFT.
We've heard it all before. Record labels are going to die. And while non-fungible tokens, otherwise known as NFTs, may or may not be what kills the traditional record label, they're already forcing the industry to adapt.
We have watched technology change the world and the labels be behind over and over and over. We're not content to do that again.
Depending on your point of view, it's either a revolution, a lucrative publicity stunt, or the latest gasp in the decades-long undoing of the traditional music industry. Most people know about NFTs because of the mania this spring surrounding a few auctions of digital art. Musical NFTs are no different, except that in addition to any artwork, they come with audio files. Even though the buyers of these NFTs are just anonymous numbers floating in the blockchain ether, musical acts can use that access to market and sell new music, fresh artwork, concert tickets, and even old-fashioned merchandise. Done right, NFTs offer the ease and ubiquity of internet distribution, somewhat like Napster, but with the digital rights protection built in. Think iTunes, but without Apple. We've already seen a growing list of startups targeting the space of blockchain as a distribution method for music. Jay-Z, Mark Cuban, Ashton Kutcher, and others have already invested nearly $100 million in a number of companies using blockchain as a form of music distribution. As everyone from musicians to managers and even labels themselves rush to cut out as many middlemen as possible or keep from being cut out, the future of music weighs in the balance. To understand how NFTs are changing the music business, you first have to understand how the music business operates today. Currently, labels take home the vast majority of the recording profit. Roughly 85% of album sales after expenses go back to the businesses, the labels, not the musicians, the artists, leaving those musicians to divide what little remains between songwriters, agents, and managers. The rest they earn on the road. An important distinction to make here is that some musicians are doing NFTs as art, while other musicians are doing NFTs as music. So what we're talking about here is really the second category. This is potentially really powerful because it's a new way to distribute the music itself and not just a new way to sell artwork and other digital objects. When I spoke with Kings of Leon drummer Nathan Followell, he had this to say about the impact of NFT albums and songs on the music distribution industry.
Record deals have lost their value in a way, whereas 20 years ago, the thought of getting a record deal, you're like, we've got it made. We're gonna go sell 1 million records and we're gonna make all this money and bands were able to do that. But nowadays, it has lost its value in the sense that a kid can make a record on GarageBand and put it out on TikTok or put it out on as an NFT or put it out in any form. It's almost like they don't need to rely on the record industry as much as they used to, which in turn I think is making the record industry kind of panic a little bit.
Record companies are eyeing the rise of NFTs as possibly more dangerous than the pirated MP3 files that sent the industry into a death spiral 20 years ago, but also potentially as miraculous as the streaming technology that has since revived it. Each of the 3 major music companies have set up NFT task forces. They've brought in everything from the law departments to sales and marketing to figure out how to not only keep from being disrupted, but to ensure that they hold on to their existing market share. The most advanced team is at Warner Music, helmed by their chief digital officer, Wana Ruxandra, who in addition to making the first NFT investment by a label, is working with her competitors to reimagine the entire music business.
One of the things that has been the downfall of the music industry is that we compete very heavily against each other, and then tech comes and they like eat our lunch, right? And we're still competing with each other and won't talk.
I think it's important to note, though, that this isn't the first time that technologists have claimed that the music industry was on its back heels. In fact, we've seen this many, many times in the past. CDs did not kill the music industry. Streaming did not kill the music industry. Each time we've seen the potential death of the music industry heralded, we've actually been reminded of the value that they bring. In fact, these big, bad, evil companies still exist for a reason, and that's that they're really helping out their musicians. But what this technology could do is make it easier for the undiscovered talent to find their audience in the first place.
You can find more NFTs in the music industry on these links here. In marketing, brands use NFTs as a new form of loyalty programs. Asics, Adidas, Nike, or Gucci sell NFTs or products with NFTs to immerse their customer base into their brand ecosystem. Adidas, for example, have created their own NFT ecosystem called the Adidas Metaverse. Nike, on the other hand, bought the NFT platform Artifacts. Gucci collaborates with famous artists like Superplastic to create a brand synergy between the artist's fan base and their brand itself. Brand NFTs are more than collectibles though, since oftentimes they allow for certain privileges or access that non-NFT holders would not have. For more information in the brand space with NFTs, I highly recommend you to explore Gary Vee's videos and audio experience. He can be a bit self-indulgent sometimes when he talks, but he really knows what he's talking about in the intersection between NFTs and brands. So please check out his videos and his podcasts. He's really, really amazing. So this concludes this week's lecture on NFTs. Please let us know if you have any questions or feedback in the comments below. I will leave you now with another video of Gary Vee. Have a good day.
I believe the people that do the best NFT projects over the next 2 years will have disproportionate financial outcomes and legacy outcomes over the next 2 decades.
You got your perspective. I just want to be happy. Don't you want to be happy?
All right, everybody. So as promised, we have Gary V here to talk about all things NFTs and his upcoming collection. And Gary, I want you to know I'm wearing something sparkly for 2 reasons. One, because NFTs are new and sparkly and people don't understand it. So we want to kind of explain to people. And secondly, it's Ramadan. And this is made by a designer in the Middle East, Dimayed. And Ramadan is about giving. So we want to give people the gift of knowledge.
I would love that.
Why do NFTs matter? And what is all this craze about? Explain it to us.
It matters long-term because it's a technology that creates a transparent ledger which documents provenance, actual digital ownership, the actual history of a digital asset and how it navigates through the world. And as our society becomes more digital by nature, caring about things that we didn't care about 20 years ago. How many followers do we have? What did that mean 20 years ago? Do I have a blue check mark on my social media, verified? What did that matter? Our Fortnite skins, our Roadblocks plus-ups, our NBA 2K and Madden cards, our other plus-ups in mobile gamings. My 11-year-old daughter and all her friends are trying to buy up all sorts of things on their iPhone games to show, here's the key, to show the world who they are. This is about identity. This is about social currency. This is about the reason, and listen, I know the Middle East understands this the way the Americas do. People buy expensive clothes, expensive jewelry, expensive vehicles. They take photos in expensive vacations because humans are inherently communicative animals and we communicate through our fashion or through our accomplishments. It is just the way it is. And one can take a cynical point of view on that, or one can just understand that that is the human being. I understand that that is the human being. I also understand that a decentralized server-based reality of documenting what tokens you own is going to be something that will happen. It has happened. We don't need to predict. NFTs are here. They've been here for 4 to 5 years. They are now hitting the kind of social consciousness of humanity. Today, much like we focused on search engines and browsers in early internet, today, what we're focusing on so far in early NFT mainstream knowledge is collectibles and art.
Yep.
That is true. That is a part of it. Obviously, that comes very natural to me because I am a collector at heart. I am someone who's always been fascinated in intellectual property creation. However, the far bigger impact of an NFT is the technology itself. That token has an underlying smart contract potential built into it. That contract can represent anything. It can represent a deed to a home. It can represent a ticket to a conference. It can represent a VIP ticket to a concert. It can represent green room access to an event. It can represent the fact that this image comes with this physical thing. You buy this NFT, I must contractually send you this in the mail. I believe that over the next decade, as people become way more educated on the smart contract part of the NFT, you will see far more explosion in its everyday use. There is only a certain percentage of people that are passionate about collecting things. There is all 8 billion of us that do things that are on a ledger and are contractually obligated, whether that is to buy something or to go somewhere. And I believe that that will be what happens. I believe that anybody who sells a book, a music album, access to a sporting event, a table at a restaurant, a conference ticket, a home, everyone will use NFT infrastructure in the future decades, thus making this era incredibly important because the Amazons and eBays and Googles and Microsoft Explorer or Google Chrome, the rules are being established about the iPhone. The early apps, there was a bunch of garbage and there's a bunch of garbage in NFT land, but some of those early apps became the biggest companies in the world. I believe the people that do the best NFT projects over the next 2 years will have disproportionate financial outcomes and legacy outcomes over the next 2 decades.
So for example, you're talking about like this ticket, like let's say, for example, Expo 2020 in Dubai or Art Dubai or Art Abu Dhabi. Would they create an NFT, like bring it to life to something that we would see in the region?
There will be no reason for those two events to issue regular tickets in 2025 when everybody on earth has this knowledge. The reason is by creating an NFT, they create a derivative asset after the conference. So not only that, that asset sits in people's wallets. And just like an airplane ticket sits in my Apple wallet now, over time, that token is something that I can connect to and do something with. For example, if we issued the NFT now, two things happen that are better than the paper ticket or the virtual ticket that those two events are issuing today. One, immediately that becomes a digital asset. The organization in that ticket can say, if this piece of art, which is a ticket, all this is going to blend. Think about the art festival. They can make a very beautiful digital asset as the ticket. When that ticket, that piece of art is sold in the future as a collectible, no different than a ticket to the first World Series or the World Cup. I can go on eBay right now and buy a ticket stub from the first World Cup, right?
Got it.
When that's sold, the person that owned it and eBay will make all the money. However, in the future, the people that issued the NFT will. So for example, bringing it to life, World Expo makes a beautiful ticket. It's the actual ticket, the NFT. When I, Gary, go and I have a lovely time, but then in 6 years, the artist that made that ticket became super famous and everybody wants this NFT and I sell it for $2,000, the expo makes 10% on that because it's on the ledger forever. In perpetuity, there is a royalty in the contract. That is very different than issuing a ticket. Not only that, it's marketing. When Maha, who will do this in 20 years, if you know Maha, meets somebody important or famous or influential. Today, when we meet somebody, we look at Google and we look at Instagram to see who they are after they leave. Oh, that person was interesting. Let me look them up, right?
Yeah,
we all do it. I believe in 5 years, we will also look at Maha's public wallet to see what tokens she has. And when I look in there and see that she has 4 years worth of going to the art festival or the film festival, right? You know, in Egypt or World Expo, that will be marketing towards me. Wow, this interesting person that I think is cool and is accomplished, they go every year to this art expo. I want to go to the art expo. There was no way to do what I just said 5 years ago.
Exactly.
There might be a photo that you put on Instagram that says you're here, but by the time I meet you 4 years later, I'm not seeing that photo. Whereas the public wallet will become a social currency layer. So what the expo just did by not issuing a boring QR code ticket or a paper ticket by doing an NFT is they've created a collectible variable that can be marketing, but it is also a financial impact on them because as that token continues to trade, then all of a sudden they're making money in perpetuity.
I love it. Gary, thank you. I want to talk about your project, last but not least. So Gary V NFTs are launching on May 5th. We've been talking a lot about it, trying to educate everybody about how to create a wallet and how to do it. But tell us about your project. Why are you launching your own NFTs?
The same reason I launched WineLibrary.com and Wine Library TV. Internet was foreign to me. Computers were foreign to me, yet I knew that internet was going to change the world. So the only way I knew I would learn is by having a website, hence WineLibrary.com. In 2005, I realized that social media and content were about to change the world on the internet. And so the only thing I knew to do was and I never appeared in any video. I never had aspirations to be a public figure. I was 30 years old and I was a retailer. I was a businessman. And so I started Wine Library TV because I needed to taste it. I needed to know how to use YouTube and Twitter and MySpace and Facebook to drive business. The reason I'm doing the project is NFTs are now the third moment in my career. Internet 1, Internet 2, and now Internet 3, or Web 3.0. And so I have to launch my own project so that I can advise, invest, and communicate around this technology. I get my hands dirty, which is where my insights come from. That's why I have to do it.
And is it available to everybody in the Middle East to be able to purchase your NFTs?
It is. You have to get a custodial wallet. Obviously, different wallets over-index in different parts of the world. You need to have Ethereum in that wallet. And then you have to be able to get your own non-custodial. Wallet Connect has a lot of them. And then the one that I'm most recommending, because it's the one I use and it's easiest, in my opinion, MetaMask, because it has a Chrome extension that makes it very easy. It is available to everybody, and that would be the route to go.
And why should somebody buy your NFT? I saw you were saying the other day about this is a blueprint for how to do NFTs.
The real reason I believe that most people should buy my NFT is my obsession with making it a valuable outcome for them. Look, NFTs are high risk. And I've said it over and over. I believe 98% of NFT projects right now are not good investments. Now, if you love an artist, if you love an athlete or musician, you want to support them like a t-shirt, Mazel Tov, that's exactly right. But for me, my focus is treating this as a 45-year project, not a 45-day project. I think I see some people with big audiences treating this as a 4-hour project. To me, this is not a money grab or a land grab. And I don't want to give away too much, but I think it will be very clear when I launch this, the inherent value of the smart contract should dramatically outpace the original investment made by people.
Gary, I'm so excited for 5/5. We can't wait to see it. And I'm excited for anyone in the Middle East who has questions, DM me. We're going to help you guys understand NFTs and about the industry in general. Thank you, Gary, for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Maha. Happy Ramadan, everyone.
Yeah.